Sup, everyone? We got Joey D over there. I'm Timmy B, and welcome to this episode of the Flea Flicker, where we will be picking week 5 of the NFL season. Now, Joey D, how are you doing today, my friend?
Tim, I'm doing great. It's a great football weekend. I got a bunch of friends coming into town, so we can go to this Eagles Panthers game on
Woo!
Sunday. Really excited. So it's going to be a really fun weekend. A lot of football, and I love going to a live game, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, I know it's going to be great too. You're going to the Eagles game. I'm going to the Ravens Monday night game. So we're both going to our first game of the season. So it'll be a lot of fun seeing some friends and family, of course. And before we hop into the Thursday night football recap, make sure you hit that thumbs up button to like this video and subscribe to our channels because Joey D wants you guys to like the video. I mean, Joe wants likes. I don't control it. Joe said, Tim, we got to get likes. And I said, all right, Joe, we're going to get likes.
That's what I'm saying, Tim. I mean, when my own wife doesn't like me, I need my likes from the viewers as much as I can. Ain't that right, bro? She's chirping back. You guys can't hear her.
Probably good news that we can't hear her chirping, but we do love Brooke, and she is an amazing wife to you, Joe. But anyways, let's hop into Thursday night football. Rams defeat the Seahawks 26-17. Kind of as we expected. We said the Rams would make less mistakes. Now, they still made some mistakes. Stafford had a couple of interesting interceptions. But the big news story from this Rams-Seahawks game is Russell Wilson's finger had some sort of injury, ligament damage. He now has surgery. He's out for the next 4 to 8 weeks. But knowing Russell Wilson, he'll try to come back in 2 just because that's who he is. But that's a huge injury. Geno Smith is now the starting quarterback in Seattle. Now, he did muster up a couple of drives, and then at the end, he could have had a game-winning drive, but Tyler Lockett slipped, and Geno Smith threw an interception. Now, Joey D, your thoughts from this Thursday night game, as well as the impact of the Russell Wilson injury?
Yeah, with the game itself, it was still a fairly close game throughout. The Rams weren't able to really separate, like you said, that on surprising interception by Stafford in the end zone on one of their first drives,
Mhm.
and just not looking quite as crisp throughout the game. The Rams were just ultimately the more talented team, and just able to move the ball effectively against a not very good defense. And then with the Russell Wilson injury, while Geno did pretty good coming in, off the bench in his place, ultimately Russell Wilson is what drives this team, and without him, I just don't see the Seahawks, being competitive enough in a really tough division to, maybe even make it to the postseason. So, long-term ramifications of this, let's not forget that the Jets own the Seahawks first-round draft pick because of the Jamal Adams trade. Now, with Russ being out for so long and their division so good, that ends up being, a really high top 10 pick. Seattle's going to be pretty upset, especially with Russell Wilson already wanting to leave. So, kind of depending on how this all plays out throughout the rest of the season, the Seahawks could feel as if they need to start their rebuild right now. I mean, they don't have any picks, or they would have this first round pick, but now they don't. It's just going to kind of prolong everything. So, I could see, maybe the Eagles or the Giants or someone like that coming in, offering a bunch of draft picks to Seattle for Russell Wilson, and they kind of start their rebuild a little earlier than they thought, and hopefully Philadelphia ends up with a all-pro quarterback like Russell Wilson. So that would be cool. That's my hope.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it multiple times here on the show, Joe. But DK Metcalf is a very interesting trade piece. They paid Tyler Lockett, they paid Jamal Adams, and a couple of other pieces. Not a lot of money to be spending on a second wide receiver. Now we've seen some teams do it, and we'll see the Cowboys kind of run into that issue in the next couple of years with all of their weapons as well. If there's any good news for Seattle, Joe, is that bless you again. And their next couple of games are Steelers, Saints, Jaguars, and the bye. So not entirely games that we're already ruling them out. They're going to be tougher now with Geno Smith as a quarterback, but very winnable games for them. However, after their Week 9 bye, it's at Green Bay and then the Cardinals. So best case scenario, Russell Wilson misses those 3 games before the bye, comes back after the bye. Worst case scenario, Russell Wilson's out those next 5 or 6 games, which include the Packers and the Cardinals, as well as a team like the Saints that they might be competing with in the wild card. So definitely not ruling out the Seahawks yet, but at least, games that they could win with Geno Smith, especially seeing him how he performed last night. So, yeah, any final words on the Seahawks Rams game?
It's just unfortunate that in the off season with so much drama about Russell Wilson in
Mm.
Seattle, and now the division's so much better, and now this Russell Wilson injury just seems like everything has kind of spiraled very fast, and I really think that the end is very near for Russell Wilson in Seattle.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And we'll just see how that unfolds. And we'll be here when it happens, Joe. We aren't going anywhere. Russell
Indeed.
might go somewhere. But now it's time to pick week 5 NFL games. Joe, we are having our first London game of the season. So Sunday morning, make sure everybody gets their bets in, gets their fantasy lineups in, because there are a couple of players that you might have, because we have the Jets and the Falcons. So if Calvin Ridley's already out, but if you have Mike Davis, Cordarrelle Patterson, even a Matt Ryan, Zach Wilson. So there are a couple pieces. Make sure you get your fantasy lineups in as well as your bets. Falcons are a 3-point favorite, Joe, against the Jets, and the over/under is at 45. We're in London, baby. Who's winning the game, Joe?
This is a tough one. I mean, I feel like with the Falcons at full strength, I'd probably take them over the
Mhm.
Jets. I mean, without Ridley, I think another receiver as well. It's going to be tough against a stingy Jets defense that is coming off a big win against Tennessee. I think for that reason, I'm going to go with the Jets in this one. It's not exactly my best judgment here, but I mean, it's a poor defense for Atlanta. Like I said last week against the Titans, Zach Wilson and that Jets offense really kind of got the ball moving. So if they're able to kind of keep that momentum going into this week, I think the offense can do enough. And I think, like I said, with that defense, they're a little bit underrated and better than people give them credit for. Without these weapons for Atlanta, I think they'll be able to slow them down just enough. It'll be a close game, probably an ugly game. I'll go with the Jets to pull it out.
Yeah, Russell Gage is the other wide receiver out for the Falcons, who is a good threat in that offense. I'm with you, Joe, though. I thought this would be a game we might be going opposite on, but I'm going with the Jets just because of that stingy defense. And I said that in the recap after they beat the Titans, is that they're kind of underrated. And we know Robert Saleh, a great defensive mind, and they got some good playmakers. I think they just gave Jason Franklin Myers, or Myers Franklin, whatever his name is, some sort of extension or some sort of contract. So good for him. So they got some playmakers there on that defense, and it is stingy. It is kind of underrated. And I think we kind of looked beyond, them holding the Patriots to only field goals when they played, even though Zach Wilson had 4 interceptions. So they still held them to field goals for the most part. They did lose to the Broncos 26-0, but again, we said that we really didn't see anything from the Broncos offense. So very stingy defense for sure over there in New York. And I think against this Falcons defense, it's bad. So I think Zach Wilson kind of has a similar game to last week. We're going to see some nice throws from him. We're going to see him move the ball. And I think the Jets are going to propel in London. And the good news as well is both teams have a bye. So Jets win 2 in a row, have a bye, kind of refresh yourselves. Maybe they get a little momentum and make a run with the Dolphins or Patriots to compete for second place in that division. So I'm going with the Jets in London. Joe, now it's time for our regular slate of games on Sunday, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock Sunday night. Monday night, we got the Patriots at the Texans. Patriots are an 8.5-point favorite. The over-under is 40. Now, Joe, this is your suicide pick. I asked yesterday to make sure I did my own research, but I'm going with the Patriots as well. You said it when you texted me. Bill Belichick, rookie quarterback, excuse me. Well, also rookie head coach, but Davis Mills. So we're both going with the Patriots. Now, I guess my question, Joe, is there any chance the Texans pull off an upset? And if there is, how do they do it?
I don't really see much of a chance here. I mean, this is a strong Patriots defense that does so well against rookie quarterbacks. I feel like they just know how to prepare for it so well. When you're a rookie going up against a top defense, your coach and offensive coordinator try to do a good job in getting you easy throws like screens, crossing routes, something that can get you into a groove and into a rhythm, start just hitting some easy throws. Bill
Mhm.
Belichick has been doing this for a long time. He knows exactly what they want to do for their quarterback and make his life easier. He's not going to let that happen. So I just don't really see much of a scenario in which it does happen unless Texans defense overperforms and can keep it to a low scoring game where they're only maybe a touchdown or two behind, 1 or 2 possession game at the end. And they sneak it out. I just don't see that as very likely because I don't see this Texans offense being able to move the ball or really put up any points against Bill Belichick and this Patriots defense. So
Yeah.
easy call for me with my survivor pool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely easy for me as well. Bill Belichick does not lose these games at all. And we might talk about this in a couple of weeks when the Titans play the Texans. Not saying Mike Vrabel is a coach, but Bill Belichick knows he needs to win. He needs to win at least, 20-0, 24-0. I'm not saying that they're going to win 40-0 like the Bills because I don't think the Patriots offense is this there. But Bill Belichick does not lose these football games. So we're both
Right.
going with the Patriots. And now we're moving on to another AFC East team. We got the Miami Dolphins at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the one of the battles of Florida. We got the Buccaneers as a 10-point favorite at home, which I'm kind of shocked at. The over-under is 48. Joe, Dolphins, Buccaneers, Jacoby Brissett, that banged up Buccaneers secondary, which is kind of why I'm a little hesitant on this 10-point spread for the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are going to win. They're my pick, but it's a lot of points to give. So I'm going with the Buccaneers. Joe, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm also going with the Buccaneers. I'm not as concerned about the secondary against Jacoby Brissett and the
Mhm.
Dolphins in this matchup. If it was a better quarterback and some more established wide receivers, then I might have a little bit of concern. But also, the Dolphins' offensive line is, I'd say, probably a below average
Mhm.
unit. While the Bucks have a very talented defensive line that just needs to show up. So I think that that's what's going to kind of keep things interesting. Jacoby Brissett is, he's not a Tom Brady-esque quarterback where he's going to
Mhm.
get the ball out on time, every single time. But he wants to take a deep drop, go deep. I just don't think there's going to have enough. He's going to have enough time to do that and really take advantage of this banged up secondary. And now on the flip side, Tom Brady on offense, he's very familiar with this Miami defense. He's very
Mhm.
familiar with Brian Flores and his style of play. So I think that the Bucks offense is going to be able to move the ball pretty regularly, and their defense is going to really give the Dolphins trouble. I think the Dolphins are going to take another L, and just keep giving the Eagles
Oh,
that better
oh,
draft pick.
oh
Let's keep
no,
it
darn.
going.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And like we just said about Bill Belichick, and I forgot to mention as well, the Patriots are only have one starting offensive lineman, but I still don't think
That's
that's
right.
enough with the Texans. I think they're still going to pull it out. But again, this is not a game that a Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Aaron Rodgers. It's not a game that they lose. Some of these elite players in the NFL who have been here and done that. I do think the Dolphins can keep it close, especially with Brian Flores and that familiarity with Tom Brady and knowing kind of like Bill Belichick last week. I think the Buccaneers will win comfortably. I think they'll just always kind of be up that one score, 10 points, maybe even two scores. But I see the Dolphins hanging around for a little bit, but unfortunately, the Buccaneers just pull it out. And we're going from 10-point favorite to another 10-point favorite. We have the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. The over under is 49. Joe, is this the game that the Lions get their first win, or do Kirk Cousins and company bounce back and have a good offensive performance against the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I mean, I think that because it's a divisional game and I don't really think very highly of the Vikings, I could see the Lions
Mm-hmm.
keeping this close and sneaking it out. I think I still will. I'm still going to go with the Vikings in this one. I mean, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook if he's healthy. I mean, that's still a couple really good weapons on offense against a banged up and not very talented Detroit defense. And then on the flip side, I just don't see their offense moving the ball very often. I mean, Jared Goff is he's been about as expected, I think, this year. They've been feeding TJ Hawkinson a lot, DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, but they just don't have those receivers on the outside that, really scare me. So I just don't see them being able to exploit, kind of a questionable Vikings secondary. While again, it's questionable Viking secondary and defense, and I think that it is, you know, like you can definitely move the ball against this team, without competent enough offensive weapons. I just don't think it'll be enough. So yeah, give me the Vikings in this, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings as well. I think the offense does bounce back. And one key is obviously we saw the Lions Ravens game and we saw that a bunch of drop touchdowns, but the Ravens receivers were getting open and receivers have gotten open against the Lions before as well. Week one with the 49ers and Debo Samuel. If I'm Thielen and Justin Jefferson, I am licking my chops at this Lions secondary. So I think this offense will bounce back. I'm not too concerned if Dalvin Cook plays or not, or if the running game is effective, because I think they're going to do it in the air. I think this could be a hopefully Justin Jefferson game for some of us who have him in fantasy.
Hey,
Uh,
I just traded for Adam Thielen, so let's calm down there, Tim.
Hey, you know, Jefferson gets the yards, Thielen gets the touchdowns. Maybe you and I could both be a
That
little
works.
happy for this game. So I'm going with the Vikings in this one. I do agree with you. It's a divisional game. I think the Lions will keep this one a little bit close, but the Vikings will pull it out in the end. And now we are going back to the East Coast. We got the New Orleans Saints at the Washington football team. The Saints are currently a 2-point road favorite. The over under is 43 and a half. Joe, again, this football team's defense has playmakers and should be good. We just haven't seen it out of them this season. Jameis Winston coming into town. This is an odd week, so we're going to get good Jameis. I mean, we had good Jameis, bad Jameis, good Jameis, bad Jameis, so now it's good Jameis week. So who is your pick for the Saints and the football team? Can the defense, that's going to be the whole question for the next couple of weeks is can we see this defense from the football team that we saw last year?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, like you said, we've seen the Saints go from looking like a great team to a terrible team to an okay team multiple times already this season, and it's only week five. So,
Mhm,
I have no idea what to make of the Saints. I mean, when you lose to the Giants, I think you're pretty bad,
mhm,
but I also know they beat the Packers, and
mhm.
Washington just struggled against Atlanta this week. So it's tough, but I think I'm going to go with the Saints in this one.
Mhm.
It is a strong defense that has just been more consistent so far. Washington, I think it has more talent, but we're just not seeing it. So unless they wake up and really have a huge game, then I think that the Saints are going to be able to do more on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball against Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, Joe. I'm going with the Saints as well. I think the offense and Jameis Winston bounce back against this defense. This could be a big game for Alvin Kamara to get 120, 130 rushing and receiving yards combined, a couple of TDs as well. I think that's going to be a big focus for them. Definitely excited to be seeing a Marshawn Lattimore against Scary Terry. That's going to be a fun matchup with some college teammates and some of the best in the league. So that'll be a fun matchup for sure. I'm going with the Saints in this one. I just can't trust that football team's defense right now. So I'm riding with the Saints and Jameis Winston. And more of an interesting game, Joe, between two AFC South teams coming up next. We got the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Titans are a 4.5 point favorite. Over under is 48.5. Now, Titans are coming off a brutal loss to the Jets on the road. Jaguars, we know that they're in an interesting spot with Urban Meyer, of course. So this is a very ugly game. On the field for the Titans, kind of bounce back, and then off the field for the Jaguars. So again, like we said with the Jets last week, this is a game the Titans need to come in and say, hey, we're the best team in this division. I mean, it's not that hard to this year, but hey, we're still that AFC elite team that we have been the last couple of years. We need to win this game. But can they do it? Or does Urban Meyer miraculously pull out his first win after all this off the field drama this past week? I was about to say off season. It's been a week. But who's winning this Titans Jaguars game, Joe?
If the Jaguars had been able to come out with a win last week and had some sort of
Mhm.
positive momentum, or didn't have all of this drama going on, at the way the Titans looked last week and losing to the Jets, I'd be more inclined to take them. I just feel like the Jaguars are a mess right now. I mean,
Mhm.
Urban has been in the headlines all week. The team doesn't respect him, doesn't trust him. You know, Titans are they've still been together as, like with that core of Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Mike Vrabel. They've still, kind of been together and overcome a lot of adversity already, while the Jags aren't used to overcoming adversity in general, but certainly not with Urban Meyer, since he's been on the staff. So, with that being said, I think I'll take the Titans in this one. I just like what I've seen out of them more, even though you know, didn't like what I saw against the Jets last week. AJ Brown should be back, so that should help open up the offense a little bit more. But this defense has to find a way to get right. I mean, Trevor could have a Trevor Lawrence type game where, he has a, awesome game and gets his first win simply because this defense is so bad. So, while I think the offense for the Titans will be okay, defense has to make some sort of plays, force some turnovers, and, just do enough to get the win. And I think that's really going to be the biggest matchup. Is Trevor going to be able to overcome everything that's been going on and just keep scoring against this bad Titans defense, or the Titans defense going to be able to make enough plays?
Yeah, I'm going with the Titans as well, Joe. It's always bad news when the entire headlines for your team, the entire week is about your coach and not the team practicing or doing well. I just like the Titans. They are a better team. The Jaguars just aren't good. And it'll be interesting to see as well. And I don't think anybody ever, gives up in the NFL, but it would be interesting to see if the Jaguars just kind of go out and just lackluster and they kind of make a statement being like, we're not going to play for Urban. You know what I mean? Like these are
Right.
adults, these are grown men, these are professionals. So obviously they're not going to intentionally do that. But I could definitely see a couple of instances where they're just like, I don't play for this guy. Now, like you said, Joe, I do think Trevor Lawrence can have a good game. The Titans secondary is still kind of ball hawky, so he could be forced into some interceptions. But I think the Jaguars could move the ball a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, having AJ Brown back, maybe even Julio Jones, that's huge for the offense. That way you can't stack the box with 8 or 9 guys. You're going to have to spread out that defense a little bit. So I think the Titans do bounce back. It's not going to be a convincing win, Joe, but it's a win nonetheless that helps them out in the divisional standings as well as the AFC playoff race. And now this is a interesting matchup, Joe. We got the Broncos at the Steelers. We got the Broncos currently as a 1.5 point road favorite in Pittsburgh. The over under is 40. We kind of alluded to it in our recap a couple of days ago. Both are great defenses. Both offenses aren't good. We got Drew Lock as the starter, more than likely, and the Steelers' offense isn't that good. So this could be a very, very ugly, ugly game. To me, I think it's going to come down to the turnover battle. Who's going to give their offense the shortest field possible? Who's going to maybe even get a pick six on this one? So I think that's what it's coming down to. Joe, how about yourself? Thoughts on your pick for this game?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think it is going to be a defensive struggle. Two very poor offenses going up against two elite defenses. Um, at the end of the it's two similar teams, such similar matchups. It really could go either way. Like you said, who gets more turnovers, who scores off a turnover. Um, I think I'm going to go with the Steelers in this one, just because this is a game. This is the type of game that they should be able to win. They have a very good defense. Their offense is not very good, but should be able to do enough. I think I just trust their offense a little bit more than I trust the Broncos offense going up against the top defense. So, it'll be close. It can definitely go either way. I think I'll go with the Steelers in this one though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with the Steelers as well. If this game was in Denver, maybe I lean toward the Broncos and kind of the home field advantage, but I'm going with the Steelers at home. This is a game that they need to win. They've lost to the Raiders at home. They've lost to the uh, um, Bengals at home. This is a game that they need to win, get their first home victory of the season. I think the Steelers are higher likely chance to get a pick six or maybe a scoop and score from a TJ Watt strip sack. So I'm going to bank that they're going to get some sort of defensive or special teams touchdown for the Steelers to elevate them in this game. It's going to be low scoring, going to be a defensive struggle, ugly game, but I'm going with the Steelers. And now it's time for a matchup that is kind of interesting, Joe. We have Aaron Rodgers against Joe Burrow, maybe kind of now versus future, past, present, that kind of thing, veteran versus young stud. Packers are a 3 point road favorite on the road in Cincinnati. The over under is 51. Both teams are 3-1, Joe. Not surprising with the Packers. And I don't want to say it's not surprising with the Bengals. I even said it in our preview. I mean, they've had a relatively easy schedule with the Bears, the Vikings, the Jaguars, and the Steelers. So 3-1, but their next couple of games are Packers and Ravens. So we'll really see who the true Bengals team is this season. So, Joe, Packers, Bengals, Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Burrow. Who you got?
Yeah, this will be a really fun game. I think that, like you said, it'll be very revealing about what type of team the Bengals are. I mean, they struggled against the Jaguars the week before after, coming off, a away victory, in Pittsburgh. So, now hosting Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Bengals have some momentum going. They have some confidence in themselves. And, this will be a great game, to, kind of give us an indication of,
Mhm.
are they legit or not? I it's tough. Like I
Yeah.
want to pick the Bengals, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I've seen them before, just annihilate teams. I haven't seen the Bengals annihilate anyone yet. Usually they're the ones getting annihilated. So, I just don't think that they're there yet. And, this is a game that Rodgers should be able to come away with the victory and, a lot of points as well.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I think the Bengals could win. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but I'm going with the Packers in this one. It's a safer pick. And a key for the Bengals to pull this out, Jair Alexander is out. So, again,
Ooh.
all those weapons. So, this could be a little bit of a shootout, but I'm going with Aaron Rodgers to pull it out. A nice road victory for them. So, I'm going with the Packers. And, Joe, now it is time for the game that you will be in attendance at. Your Philadelphia Eagles on the road at the Carolina Panthers. As of right now, the Panthers are a 3-point home favorite. The over under is 45.5. Joe, we got a bunch of friends and family coming down for this game with yourself and a bunch of friends and family to watch the Eagles and Panthers live. So I'm going to let you take this away, Joe. What are you excited to see for in this game? Obviously, you're picking the Eagles, but give us some keys to the game.
Yeah, I think that injuries are really a key to this game. I mean, last week the Eagles
Mhm.
were without 4 out of 5 offensive line starters, and they were still able to move the ball against Kansas City. I thought that was what was most impressive to me about last week, despite everyone being out. And I understand Kansas City has a terrible defense, but still, when 4 out of 5 offensive linemen are out, and Lane Johnson, it was at like the very last second that he was ruled out last week. He'll be out again for personal reasons. We still don't know what's going on with Lane Johnson. It sounds like something serious might be going on with either himself or his family. So prayers up for him.
Mhm.
He's not going to go again, but Jordan Mailata will be back. So I feel better about the offensive line, which is huge going up against a very, very good Panthers defensive line and front seven. Um, now the Panthers are also pretty injured. They're missing some guys on the O line. McCaffrey is doubtful.
Mhm.
I think Shaq Thompson has been ruled out. We know J.C. Horn is out. Stephon Gilmore is not playing. I think this defense is a little bit more susceptible than we've given them credit for. To
Mhm.
start the season. I mean, they didn't exactly play very great offenses the first 3 weeks, and then going up against Dallas last week, they struggled. So I think the Eagles' offense will be able to move the ball. I'm just concerned about our defense because of how bad it's been the last 2 weeks. Now, the first 2 weeks of the season, it was great. Defense was playing phenomenal. These last 2 weeks have been terrible, but we did play the Chiefs and the Cowboys. I feel like the Panthers are their
Mhm.
offense is a little bit more comparable or closer skill wise to the Falcons and the 49ers. So I think our defense will definitely bounce back and have an improved performance. And I think that's really what's going to come down to. Is this Panthers offense going to be able to be as efficient as they have been with Sam Darnold? Maybe not a ton of huge plays and a ton of points, but they've done a good job of limiting turnovers and scoring in the red zone. So I think that, that's kind of going to be the key because I think our
Mhm.
offense is going to be able to move the ball. I just need to see our defense slow someone down. Um, I think it'll be a close game. And if the Panthers were at full strength, I'd lean more towards them, especially after the way they started. But with all these injuries that they're dealing with, Eagles are 1-3. So, starting out 1-4 under Nick Sirianni, I just don't see that happening. I feel like the Eagles are closer to like a 2-3 type team compared to 1-4. While I think the Panthers are probably more of like a 3-2 team than a 4-1 team. So
Mhm.
I think that ultimately Jalen Hurts, the Eagles find a way to pull it out. I've got Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders in my fantasy game against James Taylor as well as Chuba Hubbard. So be able to watch all three of those guys go off, and hopefully, they have great games, and I get to make fun of James to his face, while my fantasy team gets the dub with the players that we watch in person. So can't wait to see Devontae Smith live. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm going against you with this one, Joe. We got to go against them for a couple of games. I'm going with the Panthers to pull this out. And I even was texting you yesterday about this. I mean, the Panthers next couple of games, Eagles, Vikings, Giants, Falcons, could even throw the Patriots in there. So the Panthers are could easily be 7-1, 8-1, 9-1. So like, but they have to get past the Eagles game. I think this is a good test, like you said. Are the Panthers for real? Could they be that 9, 10, 11 win team, or are they closer to maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 win team fighting for the wild card? And likewise, are the Eagles, are they the second best team in this division, or are they down there with the Giants as a team that's going to battle it out for
No,
early draft picks? Uh,
not the Giants.
so we will see. I'm going with the Panthers in this one. Will definitely be fun to. Where are your seats for the game, actually?
They're like they're upper deck. Like we didn't spend too much on them. I mean, there's like 9 of us going. I got the tickets for everyone, so I wasn't trying to spend like, 5 grand. And
Yeah.
you know,
No, I remember when I went to the Ravens Panthers game a couple of years ago in Charlotte. We were like last row in the upper deck, but we were on the 50-yard line, so like still great seats. But
I think it is on the 50
yeah,
yard
it
line.
was
Like
a
it's not crazy high up.
steps get pretty steep at Bank of America Stadium. We were huffing and puffing our way up there.
Oh,
But
good to know.
anyways,
I'll bring my inhaler for James Taylor.
definitely do that, Joe. Definitely do that for our friend James Taylor. But that wraps up the 1 o'clock slate. Now we're moving on to some later afternoon games. Starting off, we got the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields finally named the starter for the rest of the season, or for the time being, of course. QB1 going at the Vegas Raiders. Raiders are a 5.5 point favorite. The over/under is 45. To me, this could be a little bit of a toss-up game now that Justin Fields is the starter. And we've talked about the Raiders' hot start. They lost last Monday night. Like, are the Raiders still a legit threat contender, or are they lingering around that 500 below 500 team? Joe, Bears, Raiders. Where's your thought process going with this one?
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders are as good as people were making them out to be when we started out. But I also think the Bears are still pretty bad, even
Mhm.
with Justin Fields. I mean, this is still a terrible offensive line. No David Montgomery this week. We haven't seen Allen Robinson really get going yet. And the defense hasn't exactly shown up, how they would need to in order to be a playoff team this year. So I think I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one. I think their defense is going to give Justin Fields trouble, and we've seen that pass rush be able to feast against backup offensive linemen. I think that's really going to be the difference in this game. They're going to be able to make Justin Fields uncomfortable, force some turnovers, get a lot of sacks, and their offense will do enough to pull it out. But I think it'll be a closer game than people expect. I just don't think the Raiders are as good as people think they are, but I think the Bears might be a little bit worse than people think they are.
Yeah, I would love to pick Justin Fields. I just can't right now. You said it. Missing David Montgomery, that's going to be huge. Now, they still have Damian Williams, a very serviceable running back. And they do have some good weapons like Darnell Mooney, Alvin Robinson, even a Cole Kmet at tight end. So I can see the Bears winning this one, but I'm just going to go with the Raiders in this. And maybe it's because I haven't seen so much out of the Bears defense. I mean, with Khalil Mack and some of these guys, Eddie, what's the safety's name? Eddie,
Eddie Jackson.
I was going to say Eddie Johnson. So yeah, Eddie Jackson. So I haven't seen that oomph from that defense yet. And maybe that happens. Khalil Mack revenge game for sure,
Right.
going up against the Raiders. So I'm just going with the Raiders again. I think safer pick. Would like to pick the Bears. I just can't right now, Joe. I'm already like 6 games behind you in the standings, so I got to gain some games somewhere. So I'm going with the Raiders, and now probably matchup of the day. But this is a 4:05 game, not a 4:25. So we're going to be picking this now. Cleveland Browns at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are currently a 2.5 point favorite. Over under is 47. Joe, this is a game that I am very excited to see. Well, mainly because as a Ravens fan, this is a game that I am anxiously going to see who's going to win this game. But Browns Chargers, Joe, thought process and who's your pick?
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers in this one.
Okay.
This offense has been lights out so far this season. Their defense has been really improved. I love everything I'm hearing from Coach Staley.
Mhm.
He just seems like he really knows what he's doing, and the team has really bought in. I just feel like this is a team that's firing on all cylinders, and playing all 3 units are playing really well together. It's offense, defense, and special teams for the Chargers. While with the Browns, their defense has been really good. Their offense has not been as good, and
Mhm.
we're hearing that Baker has like a partially torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. Odell has, a similar injury he's been dealing with the last couple of years. I just think that this Chargers defense is going to be able to slow the Browns offense down more than the Browns defense will be able to slow the Chargers offense down. So I think it'll be a good game, but I think that Justin Herbert is better than, Baker Mayfield. I think that, these receivers that they have and, are better. Their Browns offensive line is really good. Chargers offensive line is really good too. I think that they'll be able to slow down the best part of this Browns defense, which is this pass rush, and then get the ball to their playmakers. We could see some quick passes to Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen a lot this game. I don't know if they'll be able to hit the deep ball to Mike Williams. Like I said, that pass rush and that defense in general is still really good. I just think Justin Herbert can find different ways to beat you. While I think Baker, there's a certain style or like script that he has to stick to in order to beat a top defense.
Yeah, I'm going to go against you on this one, Joe. It really pains me to pick the Browns, but I'm going with the Browns in this one. The Chargers defense, although great scheme, great coach with Staley and everything like that, but their run defense is not as good as people think it is. I mean, and their only loss, the Cowboys ran all over them with Tony Pollard, even Ezekiel Elliott as well. So I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to be eating up some yards and running out the clock to get the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands more often. So I'm going to go with the Browns in this one, and then we'll see what the Chargers do. They got the Browns this week, and then they have at the Ravens next week. So if they pull out these two wins, I think they're replacing the Chiefs as, that team to beat. And well, maybe the Bills as well. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I'm going with the Browns in this one. I think the running game's a little bit better. This is going to be a fun game to watch. I think it's going to be a little bit opposite of last week's Browns-Vikings game. I think this could be that 35-30 type of shootout. I think both defenses will struggle against these offenses. But at the end of the day, I'm going with the Browns rushing game to dominate this and pull out the victory for the Cleveland Browns. Joe, now we're moving on to your two favorite teams, the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are a 7-point home favorite. The over-under is 52. Joe, you're the expert on the NFC East. Who's winning this game?
I'm not gonna spend much time talking about it. But I'll take the Cowboys over the Giants in this game. I mean, like I've said it before, Giants might be the absolute worst team in the NFC. Cowboys offense is pretty good. Their defense is playing, better than people expected as well. So, while, the Giants got a big win against New Orleans last week, I just don't think New Orleans is very good. And I mean, Dallas has been able to pull out some good wins so far. So I think that the Cowboys should be able to get this one, unfortunately. But I'd love to see the Giants win. It'd make James happy. I'll be with James. It'll make me happy. Everyone's happy when the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, especially if your fantasy team is dominating James's team. I'm sure he could use a Giants victory against the Cowboys for sure. But I'm with you. I'm going with the Cowboys. That offense is just too good. And remember, last year, Giants at Cowboys, that was the Dak Prescott injury game. So I think that'll be a little bit added emotion for Dak in that offense. And I just don't think the Giants are that good. Since it is a divisional game, and generally these are pretty close, I think it could be close, but I think a Zeke touchdown in the fourth quarter to go up that 14, 15, 16 points, that two scores, I think that'll put it away. So I expect the Cowboys to win pretty comfortably. Could be a close first half, and then they'll pull away in the second half, but I'm going with the Cowboys. And the final 4:00 game of the day, Joe, we got Trey Lance's first NFL start going up on the road against the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. So likely the future of the NFC West with Trey Lance versus Kyler Murray. Cardinals are a 5-point favorite. The over-under is 48.5 at home. Joe, can Trey Lance pull it off in his first start, taking down the last undefeated team in football?
I think it's definitely possible, but I'm not going to pick it to happen. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I feel like the formula for the 49ers to win this game is, Trey Lance, and the run game is, dominant. And that's the only way that they really win. I mean, you got to keep this Arizona offense off the field, chew up the clock, time of possession, keep your defense well rested and fresh. So when they do have to go on the field, they're not exhausted. I think that's the formula for the Niners. I just feel like, we've seen the Cardinals pull out some really big wins already this season. Just a week ago, we were crowning the Rams as the best team in the NFL. And then Cardinals, handled them pretty easily. And, to me, that speaks volumes. Again, it's a divisional game. You never know. They're always kind of weird. Cliff Kingsbury and Kyle Shanahan, very familiar with each other as well. So I think it'll be a good game. But, Arizona has been just lights out so far this year, and so many weapons on offense against a banged up 49ers secondary. I just think that Kyler Murray, when he is on the field and has the ball, he'll be scoring a lot of points.
I'm with you. I'm going with the Cardinals as well. And I think it just comes down to Cardinals have scored 30 plus point in the first 4 weeks. If they do it again, I just don't think Trey Lance and that offense can put up 30 points. They haven't yet. I can actually confirm that right now. Even with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and everything like that. Okay, well, against the Lions, they put up 41, but then 17, 28, 21. I just think that they won't be able to hang with the Cardinals, especially that Cardinals defense with J.J. Watt. That defensive line and that front seven is going to contain the running game a little bit. They're going to make Trey Lance throw the football, although he is 4 for 4, 4 for 5.
Right. Has George Kittle been ruled out this game as well?
I am not sure. I can check that. Let me check my fantasy. Nope, he's not on that team. What team is he on? I think he's on my team in our league, Joe, where I beat you last. He is listed as doubtful. So let's see. Non-participant in Friday's practice, doubtful. So all but likely George Kittle is out. So I'm just gonna edit my. Oh, okay. Logan Thomas is also out. I need a tight end. Okay, well I'll do that after the episode. But I'm going with the Cardinals in this one, Joe. I love Trey Lance. I love that offense, but I just don't think they'll be able to hang with the Cardinals. And who knows if Trey Lance is the starter come week 10 or 11, 12, whenever they play again. Sure, maybe I'll pick them then. But I just think first NFL start, it's not going to be pretty for Trey Lance. So we're going with the Cardinals. And then Sunday Night Football, rematch of the AFC Championship game, Joe. We got the Bills at the Chiefs. Chiefs are a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 56. Both offenses are great, as we know. Bills defense, a little bit better than the Chiefs this year. Chiefs are still the Chiefs, of course. Bills are still the Bills. Now, who's pulling this out, Joe? Because if I'm the Chiefs, losing to the Ravens on Sunday Night Football and then the Bills at home on Sunday Night Football, that is not good. Losing the Chargers at home. So who's winning this game, Joe?
Yeah, I think this is the one another game that you were expecting us to be different on, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going with the Buffalo Bills in this game.
Oh, okay.
What it comes down to me is, this Chiefs defense is not just bad; it's atrocious. The Eagles offense looked awful against Dallas the week before, and then against Kansas City, Jalen Hurts throws for almost 400 yards. Now you got Josh Allen coming in. Brian Dabble calling the plays. Stephon Diggs out there at receiver. Yeah, I think this Bills offense is going to consistently be able to move the ball. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. But this Bills defense is also really good. I don't think they're just a little bit better than the Chiefs. They've got a lot of talent, and they always play well every season. They might start off a little bit slow, but I think that eventually they'll be able to get back up to that top 15 form. And they're just more talented on defense as well. I like their scheme. I like the guys that they've got there. I think they match up well against Kansas City, and I think this is going to be a huge game for Buffalo. Moving forward, with the for postseason ramifications. Chiefs, could fall to what would that be now? 2-3, 2-4. With losses to the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Bills. Those are three teams that we really think are going to be some of the top teams in the playoffs. So I think the Chiefs are going to lose this game. They're going to be, very far behind in the standings, and are really going to have to work themselves back up and play really hard when they do make it into the playoffs to keep it going. But yeah, give me the Bills in this one. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, Joe, I really want to pick the Bills. I really do, but I got to go against you. I got to get a game or two somewhere. So I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. I think what you just said as well, just knowing Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes and company the last couple of years, losing this game, you might as well just call off your season, because losing to the Bills, the Ravens, the Chargers, probably going to lose a game to the Raiders because for some reason they know how to beat them, the Chiefs. So already you're putting yourself in such a terrible position for potential tiebreakers, for this, for that, and now again, the Chiefs could be a very scary AFC wildcard team. But if you're losing to the Bills, the Chargers, the Ravens, that's just not good. So I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with, if this was at Bills Mafia, I'm picking the Bills 100% of the time. I'm still I think the Bills are going to win this game, but I got to pick the Chiefs. Joe. I just got to get a game.
I know I got you there, Tim. You didn't think I was going to take the Bills, did you?
I thought so. I thought so. And I was like, let me let Joe pick first, and then I'll just go out. If you said Chiefs, I'd be like, great, awesome. Bills are going to win this game. And I still like the Bills. I think they will win. But in terms of making the pick, I'm going with the Chiefs for that one. And now to wrap up week 5, we got Monday Night Football. We got the Indianapolis Colts at my Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are a 7-point favorite. Over under is 46. I will be at the game. So hopefully we can pull it out. We're inducting Haloti Nada into the Ring of Honor at halftime. So that'll be
former Eagle,
former Raven, Super Bowl champion. Did he win Super Bowl with you guys? Was he on the roster or?
Oh, no, he was on the team the season after and was awful, actually.
Well, Super Bowl champion with the Ravens, Haloti Nada. But again, we are a 7-point favorite. Over under is 46. I think we're going to win. I'm going to pick us to win, obviously. I think it comes down to our defense. Well, also our offense because we have Lamar Jackson. But our defense, we need to get some turnovers. I think we will against Carson Wentz. He's known to throw some interceptions or fumble here and there. I just don't see the Colts. I mean, and we talked about this previewing them. Their offensive weapons, Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman, Mo Alley, they're just kind of, they don't have those couple of guys. I mean, Michael Pittman's the leading receiver. Carson Wentz seems to be building a great relationship. But I think it's going to come down to, we're going to make Carson Wentz throw the football, and that's not a good formula, especially with their weapons and our secondary and pass rush. So I'm going with the Ravens. We're also going to be running the ball. Greg Roman really wants this rushing record, so I do think we will get that record of over 100 yards. And I think we're going to win this one. It could be a close game. And last year we beat them 24-10 on the road. Could be a very similar game where, we're not blowing them out. It's going to be a close game, kind of like last week as well, like a 23-10, 24-10, whatever. So I think it's going to be that. And I'm going with the Ravens. Joe, how about yourself?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one for me. I like both these teams' defenses, but, I don't like the Colts offense and I like the Ravens offense. So, give me the Ravens in this. I really think that their defense is going to make Wentz uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to, force some turnovers and, disguise some things that he's seeing. I really think that, Ravens defense is going to give him a lot of trouble throughout this game. And like you said, it might be a defensive struggle kind of throughout the first half, but, the Colts or the Ravens just kind of, are firmly in control throughout the game. Like you said, I mean, Lamar and, this rushing attack, I think that they're going to be able to run the ball successfully. Is Rashad Bateman back this game?
I don't think he is. He's been practicing. I don't know if we've activated him yet. That could happen today or tomorrow once we need to officially submit our roster. I don't think we're ready to rush him yet, but who knows? I mean, I would love to see him in action, of course, but I think we still have after week 6 or before week 6. So he will be back next week, I think. I don't know about this week, though.
Gotcha. Well, I'll leave it at this. The last time I was at M&T Bank Stadium, I watched the Carson Wentz and the Eagles play the Ravens, and it was in 2016, his rookie year. It was a great game. Came down to the very end. 2-point conversion for the Eagles to win. Wentz throws it out of the back of the end zone. So, let me see that happen again. Carson Wentz going into Baltimore and looking like an idiot. Ravens get the win. Sorry, Trent. Sorry, Rob, go Tim, let's go Ali, let's go Ravens.
Yeah, let's go Ravens, baby. And we're going to help you out as well. Colts are going to become 1-4, which helps that draft pick as well. Now, Carson Wentz playing doesn't really help out with that, but helps out whether it's an early first or an early second. So we're helping you out either way with that, Joe.
Oh, yeah. No, if he plays, it helps us, Tim. We need him to play more to get the first-round pick. So I would love to see him keep playing, that keep it close, make it competitive. They're like, oh, we were so close against Baltimore. They're a really good AFC team. Like, we just need to fix 1 or 2 things, and we're right there. And Wentz plays all 17 games, and the Eagles get a top 10 pick from him. and the Dolphins and ourselves, and then we go get Russell Wilson, and we win the Super Bowl. That's the formula, Tim. It's that easy. Make me
Uh,
a GM and fire Howie Roseman already. Damn it.
All right, somebody hire Joey D to be the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. But that's going to wrap it up for Week 5, Joe. Any final words about the upcoming week?
Man, I'm excited to, be in Charlotte. I lived outside Charlotte for a year when I was a lot younger. Great people. It's going to be a great time, and I can't wait to go ahead and chirp all these nice Panthers fans and just start yelling obscenities, and just it'll be great to watch my wife start chirping Panthers fans as well. She gets into the games. She claims she's a nice person, but when she doesn't like you like me, then she'll be mean, right, Brooke? Silence.
Hey, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I do think there's going to be a lot of green in the stadium. So if it goes well with you, I definitely think Joey D and the Dennises could be singing some "Fly Eagles Fly" in Bank of America Stadium, but that's not the case because I'm going with the Panthers as well. But that's going to wrap up this episode again, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you guys haven't already, hit that thumbs up button to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back in the middle of next week where we're going to be recapping all of these games and picking the Thursday night football game, which includes Joey D's Philadelphia Eagles taking on
Oh man, I
Tom
just
Brady.
remembered that. Yeah, I can't. Oh man, after this, when the Eagles are just blowing out the Panthers this game, I'm gonna start a "We Want Brady" chant.
Already, Joe. Well, I can't
If
wait
you
to
watch the game and you see that chant going on, you know who it started from.
and yeah, I can't wait to be watching that and seeing if we hear that. And then Tom Brady's going to hang 50 on you, but we'll talk about that in middle of the week for our recap and our game picks. But that's Joey D over there. I'm Timmy B, wishing you all a fantastic day. Best of luck to your fantasy teams and your real life teams. Hopefully they win, and we'll see you in the middle of next week. Peace.